Marvel's Eternals are waging war on the X-Men's nation state of Krakoa. And in order to defend themselves, the X-Men turn to unlikely allies in the form of the Avengers in order to repel their attacks. However, the X-Men and Eternals teamed up to revive a celestial known as the Progenitor to render judgment upon the Marvel Universe. But my question for you is, what does all this have to do with Spider-Man? My name is Ariko Braddock, and today we're going to go ahead and discuss The Amazing Spider-Man number 10, which I also happen to think is one of the best issues in the series to date. But before we get any deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. Let's go ahead and introduce our creative team for The Amazing Spider-Man number 10. This issue is written by Zeb Wells. We have art from Nick Dragotta, colors from Marcio Menyz, and letters from VC's Joe Caramagna. The cover is drawn by John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna, and Marcio Menyz. Here is a look at the gorgeous cover for the issue featuring Gwen Stacy from adventuresinpoortaste.com. Gwen Stacy has happened to kind of take on the form of the Progenitor in order to render judgment upon Peter Parker. And this issue really kind of explores how the Progenitor is taking on forms of various Spider-Man characters in the supporting cast to render its own judgment onto them. And I love this issue in particular because of the gorgeous art from Nick Dragotta. Take a look at the last panel on this page as we see a really kind of cool looking despondent Peter Parker who is looking at something. His eyes are distracted by something else on the page. And as we go to the next page, we see that Peter's gaze is still focused in on this strange object. I just love how Dragotta reveals Gwen Stacy as the kind of Progenitor on this last page of the issue. There's a real fun line from Peter Parker just saying, oh, no reason, nothing weird or odd is really going on right now, which is kind of a great, way for Peter Parker, just a classic way for Peter Parker to react, to this situation in general. And in the issue, kind of as I said before, the Progenitor kind of continues some of these tricks and does a really good job sneaking into the lives of key Spider-Man supporting cast members to make things interesting all the way throughout the issue. Of course, there's a ton of baggage between Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker because even though Gwen Stacy died decades ago in Marvel continuity, it's almost like the entire Marvel universe never really got over her death. In fact, there's even players like Norman Osborn who are back in this issue and also have a kind of interesting reaction to some of these really strange and some of these really bizarre events. This issue does such a wonderful job by both Zeb Wells and Nick Dragotta of mixing those classic 60s Spider-Man elements with modern day new Spider-Man tropes. For instance, we have Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man series in a brand new context here. And also, I just love how this issue very subtly kind of evokes some of the same storytelling elements from, the first Clone Saga in Spider-Man, but I don't think it kind of pulls on them too hard. It still celebrates the beauty of the moment. The final couple pages in the issue is what really took me by storm emotionally here. I didn't think that Zeb Wells would have such fantastic commentary between the relationship of Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker because their romance happened so long ago, but there's clearly an emotional reaction, that Peter has to seeing Gwen, and the sense of release that comes in at the end of the issue is just a great way to kind of stir the emotions, to a boil and really kind of impact, readers' feelings about the Amazing Spider-Man going back decades upon decades and decades. And finally, I think that they're doing a good job teasing Norman Osborn and, what some of his moves are going to be in the upcoming Dark Web crossover. Suffice to say that all of these kind of like expressions and really heated moments are captured so well from Dragotta. Dragotta's, I think, key strength is finding that interesting framing and finding those expressions to really elicit a strong sense of emotion from readers. So I really think from the art and writing side that this is a really confident issue that shows the creative team at the very top of their game. So I love this issue of The Amazing Spider-Man and all of the plot elements it boiled together in one kind of climactic issue. I think it's hilarious that the best issue of Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man to date, in my opinion, happens to be a crossover issue, because typically people say that crossover issues are not quite as good as the main series. I think that this would have to be the exception due to just how tightly this is plotted and how Wells really kind of calls upon not only past Spider-Man stories, but past stories from his run to give like nice small emotional codas or just interesting moments throughout the issue. So we have an incredible script here. We have an incredible issue. I want to know what you thought about The Amazing Spider-Man number 10 down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. And I want to know if you like this issue as much as I did. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.